Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you a super simple, super easy, super fast and super foolproof way to make custard. Now I know a lot of people love their custard and they miss their custard on keto, and so I fiddled around with this not only to make it taste awesome, but I wanted to make sure that it was something that everybody could recreate easily without having to worry about learning how to cook an egg custard, without risking the custard curdling, without having to strain it, without all of that stuff. So I'm going to show you now how simple and easy it is for everybody to make keto custard, and all you need is a blender. So this is a blender custard, if you will. So I've got my blender. You don't need a fancy blender. Any blender will do. And I am going to start putting my ingredients in. You can find the recipe. The link is below with all the ingredients and the quantities listed in there for you. So you don't have to take notes. I'm going to put the nut milk, the sweetener, some salt, some extract, and my eggs. Now, I'm going to crack each of these eggs individually into here. The whole egg. And then I'm going to put it in the blender. And I'm going to do that with all of them. And the reason you do that is because if you do it straight into the blender and your last egg is bad, you're going to waste everything. Doing it this way, you have one little thing extra to wash up, but you will save yourself wasting not just your eggs, but all the things that you're adding the eggs to if one of them turns out to be bad. So I always encourage you to do this. Whoops. So there's all your eggs. Now what we're going to do, I'm just going to move this out the way. What we're going to do is we're going to put the lid on, and we're going to blend it really well. For a few minutes, just to make sure that it's completely mixed together. The sweetener will have dissolved. One thing to note here, I used allulose, as you will see in the recipe. You can use whatever sweetener you like. Bear in mind that the result may not be the same. Allulose, if you're using Swerve, which is an erythritol blend, you probably will need to use less. If you are using Lakanto, which is an erythritol blend, you'll probably need to use less. But you might actually find that you have crystallization issues if you use erythritol or any erythritol-based sweetener. Xylitol will be absolutely fine in this recipe. I do recommend that you use allulose. So, when we've got it here, it's all completely blended. What we're going to do is we're going to put it back on. And then we've got our konjac. We're going to tap it through the lid. We're going to tap it through the lid. Then 10 seconds, just to make sure that those last two ingredients are blended. The reason why we add them while it's blending is because it's absolutely the most successful way to incorporate gum and konjac without it becoming lumpy because of the action of the blender. So once they're in there, just 10 seconds to make sure it's blended. Don't do it any more than that because guar gum has a tendency to become gummy if you overblend it. And now we're going to turn our heat on. Look at that beautiful yellow custard. Can you see how smooth that is? It's completely smooth, no lumps. Of course, nobody likes lumpy custard. And that's one of the biggest problems with making an egg custard the traditional way is lumps. So we've got a beautifully smooth yellow custard. And now we are going to heat it. And this is going to take a minute. And you have to stir constantly, as with any sauce with thickeners in. So we are going to heat this, stirring constantly until it's thickened. You'll notice that all of the froth that you created in the blender, as you slowly stir it, all that froth will slowly dissipate as you stir. So you won't be left with this wildly frothy custard at the end. And this is going to take a minute. I find custard making very therapeutic. If that's not you, and you have an iPad or an iPhone or a book, you can stand here stirring and surfing or reading at the same time. Go for it. But I am gonna stand and stir here for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and show you the finished custard. See you in a minute. Hi everyone, we are back with our super easy almond custard. You will notice this is about 8 minutes in, and you will notice that as you're stirring, you'll actually feel it start to become thicker. And as long as you keep stirring the whole time, you're going to have a perfectly lump-free custard. Now you may see, if you've looked at other custard recipes, or you remember recipes from before that talked about this magical thing called coating the back of a spoon, here's what it means. It means that your custard is ready when you do that and it doesn't run off the spoon. That's what that term means, coating the back of a spoon. So when you do that, it's all going to fall off. When it's thick, when it's ready, when you dip it in, it basically all stays on your spatula. So that's what that term means, and that's how you know when your custard is done, that it coats the back of the spoon or the spatula. So that's what it looks like. So then you're going to turn your heat off, and you can pour your beautiful smooth yellow custard into a bowl or a jug or whatever vessel you have. Just going to scrape it all out there, and you can serve this hot. If you like us Brits like to do, is to pour it over hot desserts, so you can do that, or you can leave it to get cold. And this is one that I made earlier, and it's been in the fridge, so you can see the consistency of this at this stage, the runniness of it at that stage. So it's very much a pouring custard when it's hot and freshly cooked. If you leave it until it gets cold, it's much thicker. So this is just to let you know, if you're wondering how thick it's going to get, That's how thick it gets once it's cold. If you know by looking at these that you want it thicker at the hot stage or thicker at the cold stage, just add an extra half a teaspoon of konjac into the blender when you're making it to start with, and that will make it thicker when it's cold, but also it'll be a bit thicker when it's hot. So there you are, super easy, foolproof keto custard.